through answering the question. If any of the three would like to make a rebuttal, just kind of motion to me and I'll recognize you and you can have an additional 30 seconds. So the first question from the audience is, the Board of Education meets once a month for a regular meeting. The Board of Education is a board with many subcommittees that meet on different nights. Depending on what is going on at the school, there might be special meetings with little notice. All Board of Ed members are expected to attend the special meetings and be on subcommittees. Are you flexible to attend the regular monthly meeting, and are you able to attend special meetings with little notice and able to attend subcommittee meetings as well? And we'll start with Matthew and go down the line.
Sure. I generally have plenty of time in the evenings. My kids dance, they go to school, they dance, they do homework, and they dance some more. So I've got my time because I'm not the dance chauffeur. And I do understand that there are plenty of meetings. So it's part of the job, it's part of the commitment. I'm ready to fulfill that commitment. So I guess that's the answer.
Thank you. And Valentine?
For myself, one of the most unique things is I carry my own schedule, so I'm not tied to an employer. I set my own time limits. I run my daily life pretty full, but that allows me the opportunity to shift things when I need to. And I also believe that, growing up one of 9, I was the middle child. My parents split when I was 10, so I had a lot of responsibility, and I juggled a lot then as a young person, as a young adult, and I'm capable of doing that as well. So yes, I'm able to shift my schedule to attend meetings and join subcommittees as needed.
Thank you, Valentine. And Kathleen, same question to you.
Fortunately, I am retired. I have a proven track record. I do attend the monthly meetings. I am a member of 4 subcommittees, and I'm also an alternate on other subcommittees. And this past winter, I broke my ankle and still managed to attend meetings and attend the meetings of the Superintendent Search Committee.
Thank you very much to all, and it doesn't appear that we've got any rebuttals, but certainly you have the admiration of all of us in the audience for the time commitments that it takes to serve on the Board of Ed and its many subcommittees. Second question, we're going to start with Valentine, and then we'll go to Kathleen, and then to Matthew. What is the role of the Board of Education, and what would be your vision for Thompson's schools? So the role of the Board of Education, and what would your vision be for Thompson Schools? And we'll start with Valentine.
I always say the role of the Board of Ed for me would be to maintain good elementary and secondary education for the schools, implement some type of educational interest, which are state generated as well as federal, to best serve the interests of the district, what the needs are, what the teachers' needs are, both parents, teachers, and students, as well as the community. I also would like to say, I think our job is to give each child advantage, equal advantage, no matter their learning skills and their capabilities. The other thing is to provide an appropriate learning environment, safe environment, supplies, books, facility, that type of thing. And I would say my vision would be, I want to bring us into, the betterment of technology. Let's get some of those resources that are out there that can improve teaching classroom size, where teachers can gear their programs for individuals by teaching some in a group, as well as setting aside some that need individual learning where they could use computers and some of the technological advances that are out there to improve the way they teach, especially with all that they have to contend with within the classrooms.
Valentine, thank you. And Kathleen, same question?
Could you repeat the question?
I sure can. What is the role, what do you see as the role for the Board of Education? And what is your vision for Thompson Schools?
The role of the Board of Education is set by state statute. However, it is to set the vision and goal for the school district, to adopt policies and give direction to achieve those goals. hire and evaluate the superintendent, and adopt and oversee an annual budget. My vision for the school, which aligns with the school's goal and vision, is to be the best school, public school in Northeast Connecticut. How do we achieve that goal? Was to make the best use of our resources. Our resources are people, facilities, and technology. Retaining top-notch staff is key. Facilities, upgrading our facilities so they're conducive to the education of our children. And technology needs to be current and be able to provide a platform that is conducive to 21st century learning for our children. Thank you.
Kathleen, thank you. And same question to Matthew. What is the role of the Board of Education? And secondly, what is your vision for Thompson Schools?
Thank you. The role of the Board of Education, I can't go really much farther than Valentine and Kathleen. It's to provide a good quality education to people in town, but there are definitely state and federal regulations that the town has to abide. So that's basically the role. And the Board of Education sets those goals and sets the way to meet those standards, as well as any of the budgeting that needs to go on. Like I said in my opening statement, I believe I had a very well-rounded education, and I would like everybody that goes to Thompson Public Schools to have a well-rounded education that meets 21st century needs. And I realize that the requirements in the 21st century are different than when I went to school a while back. Technology is very important, more so than it was a generation or two ago. And we need to keep up with the technology to make sure our kids are competitive, and we need to maintain the best quality staff that we have, regardless of the number of students that we have.
Thank you, Matthew. And if any of you would like any additional 30-second time, Valentine?
One of the big things I think communities don't do well at is everybody thinks all children should have to go to college. We've got a lot of kids that don't go to college, and I would like to see us do a little bit more for those that choose other avenues by actually realizing their talents to the best of their abilities, but providing them with a level of education that makes them contributing adults, regardless of the fact if they were going to college or not.
Thank you, Valentine. Kathleen, for 30 seconds.
I think I know we as a Board of Ed are looking into an avenue for these children in the form of academies, setting up academies, and part of these would be in the possibility of things like civil justice, EMT training, the Maritime Academy, a Communications Academy, and another one would be the Hospitality and Hotel Industry Academy. So we are looking to do that as a group.
Kathleen, thank you. No further comments on that. I'd like to move on to question 3. With the concerns on the state and town budgets, and we've certainly all been watching the concerns coming from the state level, my little editorial comment was that, but what are the areas that you can identify to help reduce costs at the school or in the school system? And we're going to start with Kathleen and go across to our right on this one. So Kathleen, first question begins with you.
Well, as I said, at the beginning of each budget process and workshop in January, I go through the budget line item by line item. And I ask for justification of each cost and each major cost, each cost. Specifically, we pull out, the teachers and the department heads recommend new programs. We make them cost justify these new programs, prioritizing the budget and new programs, and the cost in the budget is one of the hardest things for the Board of Education to do, because all these programs are good and and definitely needed programs for our students to give fair education to everybody. When I first got here, I was going to find, I was going to find savings on every line item. There are not savings on every line item. Yeah, you can find $1,000 here and $1,000 there, but overall, this school system is running on the most efficient and effective cost way we can run. So we have to prioritize costs, and that is a very difficult process. Thank you.
Kathleen, thank you. And to Valentine, same question. What are the areas that you can identify to help reduce costs in the school or the school system?
I think Kathleen probably has a bigger advantage than anybody on that, because she's been involved in the line item things. I look at any type of budget for school or even my home. When you get into times where you have to start crunching numbers, you look at what you really, really need and what you don't. But I also often wonder if we are running things efficiently with how we purchase, how we procure items for the school. Sometimes we get in the rut of using the same people or buying from the same place. And I think we need to get a little bit creative on that. I'm not big into a lot of cuts. I don't like to see cuts for programs like the school activities or sports. I find sometimes that is just detrimental in creating an unbalance for the student that we're trying to produce out of the school. So I agree with prioritizing what we really, really need, but I also like to look at other things, other avenues. Are we purchasing and procuring things for the best price that we can get, and don't fall into that rut of using the same people all the time if we don't have to.
Valentine, thank you. And Matthew, same question. What areas would you be able to identify to help reduce costs in the school system?
Well, like Valentine said, Kathleen definitely has we'll say the advantage of the knowledge. She's been deep into this for 6 years now, and I appreciate that, that hard work that she's done. And I've looked at the budget, not in as much depth, but I don't see a whole lot of fat on that cow. It's there's a lot of things to prioritize, and prioritizing one good program over another, it's very difficult. And as far as efficiencies go, that'd be great. I don't know how the purchasing is done. I think that's an excellent idea. Beyond scaling back good programs, it's not an easy thing to do. I would love to be able to cut $2 million out of an $18 million budget, but that's not going to happen. It's not what we're here for. We're here to provide a quality education within the means that the town can provide to our students.
Matthew, thank you. And for additional time, Kathleen?
One of the initiatives that we have, the Board of Ed has put forward to save money for the taxpayer, not on the Board of Ed budget, is that we could approach the town and other town entities in sharing an IT technician. We could look into buying in bulk with the town and the library, things like paper. This would save the taxpayers money, not necessarily the budget for the school, but taxpayers as a whole.
Kathleen, thank you. If there are no further follow-ups, we're going to move on to a new question. And Matthew, we're going to start with you on this question. How would you deal with both the negatives and the positives on social media?
Well, I have a 6th grader and a 7th grader, and they have very limited access to social media right now. And if it's up to me, I'd lock any of their devices up so that they wouldn't. It's a very difficult thing to approach in the 21st century as a parent, and I'm not looking forward to the upcoming years in that regard. It's really, as far as on a student level, it's really, really up to the parents But as far as for the school goes, I really think the Board of Education or the school system in general needs to have a very active social media presence to keep the townspeople engaged, and look, parents, but also everybody in town. And recently went to a workshop, and I was on the committee or the room that we worked on social media and public interface. And we had some good ideas, and it's just a matter of making those ideas work, but it can get very complicated to be positive. And that's the important thing, is for the district to be positive, outgoing, and keep a big filter on negative impact.
Matthew, thank you. And we're going to go to Valentine for the same question. How would you deal with the negatives and the positives in social media?
I actually love this question. So, social media, of course, reaches a lot of individuals. But what I find is there's a lot of negativity, which is almost like negative news that's out there. And it's very, very easy to be negative. It takes a lot to be positive and to carry yourself in a positive way. I welcome the negative people. I want them to come at me. Particularly, come at me, but come at me with your facts. I'm a factual person. If you want to just spew stuff and create cancers against the school system that is trying to do good things for the students, for the community, it doesn't serve a good purpose. Being positive takes a lot of work. In terms of social media, you're going to read it all out there. I actually would invite them to a conversation, invite them to meetings. I want them to voice their opinion, but if they're coming, they better come with true facts, because negative facts just create a cancer, and then it goes from one person to the other, and when truth is not there, I don't have time for that. I want progress. I want to move forward. I want to see people move forward, and if we have the negative group out there, I've seen some of the posts, and I've even seen Board of Ed members saying, God, we just can't do right by you. And you're going to always have those people, because they're trying to prove themselves for, I believe, something that's occurred in their own life, and it's like a power trip. So for me, I welcome the negative person. Come at me. I'll be more than happy to contend with you.
Valentine, thank you. And Kathleen, the same question on social media, the negatives and the positives.
Over the last 2 years, we've increased our social media presence on Facebook and other sites to just address just that issue. We've been having a lot of negativity on some Facebook sites. And the way we combat the negativity is just bombard them with facts, especially about the budget. If you go after them with facts, and that tends to shut them down. And then on our Facebook page, which we have several, we just put out the positive things about the school. We continue to put out positive little tidbits about the school and how good things are happening here. Wonderful things are happening at the Thompson school systems. Keep putting that out. And you're always going to get negative. You're just going to continue to get the negatives. They can read the facts till they're blue in the face and they don't agree with you. But that's life, and thanks to Joe Lindley, he continues to put the facts out there for us, and I appreciate his efforts very much. Thank you.
Kathleen, Valentine, and Matthew, thank you for answering that question. It does not appear that there needs to be any follow-up. Next question is, some say that there is a perception that there is a lack of transparency in the school system. What do you think can be done to change that perception? And on this one, we're going to go back and start with Matthew, and we'll come down next to Valentine and then to Kathleen.
I've been to a lot of the board meetings as a councilperson and as a parent, and if you go to the meetings and you talk to the board members afterwards or beforehand, I don't see people hiding things. There's 9 people on that board that do this, give their time to make the school a better place and make Thompson a good community. And I don't think anybody's trying to hide anything there. I've talked to all 3 of the principals in school and in various conversations, and any of them, you can ask them anything, they're happy to give you an answer. If you don't know something, ask. And I don't think anybody's hiding anything on purpose. Just ask and go to the meetings. I go to the board meetings, there's fewer people than are in this room, which is not that many. So show up, and hopefully someday there will be a need for a bigger room for the board meetings. There you go.
Matthew, thank you very much. And same question to Valentine. What do you think can be done to change the perception of the lack of transparency in the school system?
Again, I agree a lot with what Matt said, that, I don't see that hiding stuff in the school system. I know nearly all the Board of Ed people, and these are good people. Secondly, when you look at transparency, the biggest thing you need to do is get people to trust. As in any relationship, it's all about trust, and you've got to work at ways to prove to them that you are not doing things behind their back or hiding things from them. So building trust is a key thing, and I would parallel that all along with that line of negativity. You've got to reverse that negativity and show them ways, creative ways. Know the individual. I know the people. I put stock in my faith in all the people that are serving on the Board of Ed. I've known many of them for a very long time. So if there's transparency there, I haven't seen it. And again, I would build that trust back up, because there's a lot of people that don't have trust in things, and in order to move forward, you need to build that trust.
Valentine, thank you. And Kathleen, the same question about what could be done to change the perception of the lack of transparency.
Sean, that's a great question. I believe the school has been very transparent with its financials and its budgets. The budget is posted on the website. We hold many budget workshops, even on a Saturday, so that more people can attend. They're open to the public, and we solicit citizens' comments. If anyone has a question about our budget or financial accounts, they can ask administration. They're accessible to everyone. Or they're more than welcome to email or call me. I'd be happy to sit with anyone and try to explain the budget numbers to you. We have increased our presence on social media. We have updated our website to make it more user-friendly. And we are submitting more articles to the Thompson Villager, all to reach out to the community at large for your input. Thank you.
Kathleen, thank you. And if there's any follow-up, if not, we're going to move on to our last question of this panel, and then we'll have closing statements. The question is, what are your beliefs toward the limitations on funding to support government mandates? So I think the question was trying to get at, oftentimes on the local level, your mandates come on down that you have to fund. And what are your thoughts about that and how that plays into your role as a member of the local Board of Education? And we'll start in the middle of the table. Let's start back at the left again, and then we'll reverse the order for closing. So, Kathleen, if you can take this one first.
Second to collect my thoughts, if you will. Initially, when the government mandates were proposed and imposed, if you will, they were to be funded 100% by the federal and state government. Of course, as we all know as taxpayers, this well of funding started to dry up and dry up and dry up, till we're at the point that we are now. This has become a cumbersome overburden on the local taxpayers. We've been asked to accept and fund more and more of these government mandates. I'm not saying that these mandates are not good, they are good, but we are having little and less say in running our own school systems. More and more of what we have to do as a Board of Ed is being directed by the federal government and by the state government. We as a Board of Education and as a town, what we can and cannot do is being told to us by state and federal governments. We cannot change this. The only way we can change this is by going to Hartford through our state and federal representatives and getting and requesting funding. Thank you.
Kathleen, thank you. And our next response from Valentine, your beliefs toward the limitation of funding of government mandates.
Again, I agree with Kathleen. This is a tough thing. Your hands are so tied on what you can and can't do. And I actually have to say, doing research just about the whole Board of Ed process, I'm amazed at this just sheer amount of stuff that is really, really needed in terms of understanding how everything operates. I love the fact that you're going to have to go to your legislatures and try to get them to understand your position. And again, my thing is your hands are tied. I don't see how much more you can do when you are in a position like that.
Valentine, thank you. And Matthew, the same question on limitations of funding of mandates.
I haven't been as deeply involved in the budget as Kathleen, but I do look at the budget and I do realize that a goodly chunk of it is directed between federal and state mandates, and also things like insurance, things that we don't have much control over the costs. But also not just the costs, but just the regulations and the reporting requirements and things like that take up a lot of the board's time, a lot of the administrators' time, a lot of the teachers' time. And unless we were to go rogue in some way and we become unaccredited, that kind of a thing, you have to comply with the federal and state mandates, whether they give you the money or not. And it's just a matter of being active, having an active either board or superintendent to request the funding from the state level. I don't know if you can do it from the federal level with one representative. So that's it. It's not easy, and it's the system has been set up for, I think, failure to the local townspeople. It's not just.
Matthew, thank you. There is time for follow-up if any of the panel would like to follow up on that. And before we move into final comments by each of you, I wanted to express from my end, and I think from the audience here, our admiration and our thanks to you. Certainly our three great candidates who have thought about these issues very closely, and we appreciate that you're willing to share your time and put your name out there. And having said that, we're going to go to last minute, 2-minute wrap-up comments. We'll start with Matthew, go down the line to Valentine, and then Kathleen. So Matthew, the floor is yours.
Thanks again for hosting, and once again, thanks for attending, folks. It's not an easy job. I don't even do the job yet, but it's not an easy thing, and anybody who wants to run for this position needs to be able to make the time commitment, and it'd be nice to have a lot of people running that would show a lot of involvement. But I would like to see a lot more community involvement in general for the school, a lot more parental involvement. I go to PTO meetings and it's the same 4, 5, 6, 7 people all the time, ever since my kids were in elementary school. And as a parentheses, I'm always the only dad there. I'm very excited about our new superintendent. Ms. Smith has a lot of energy and a lot of drive and a lot of direction. I was very happy and honored to be asked to be on that selection committee, and I'm looking forward to where the school system goes under her direction. We also have two very recent principals in the middle school and the high school, and they both also have a lot of energy and a lot of good ideas, not to minimize Ms. Beltram's contributions in the elementary school. I think the school system has a very good future ahead of it, and I'm looking forward to being a part of that.
Matthew, thank you. And for 2 minutes, closing comments, Valentine?
My gratitude to everyone for coming out tonight. I really appreciate it. Taking this step is something very new to me, and I'm looking forward to being the candidate, but also being elected if possible. So for my closing remarks, I am a firm believer in it takes a community to effectively educate children, with everyone in this room doing their part. I have never believed the weight of teaching our kids should fall on teachers alone. Let's face it, education is no longer easy business. Much of what schools are mandated to do by federal and state laws often shift focus away from the ability to effectively teach. As I tried to gather knowledge and wrap my head around all the school board member needs to take in, I was flabbergasted when I found out the Connecticut law on education alone, as of January 2017, was some 680 pages long. That's a lot to take in. This is just a part of it, though. I don't believe most can comprehend how complex the laws and guidelines representing education and the budgeting process really are. The time I have expended so far to research this topic really gave me an appreciation for the work of a citizen who steps forward for a civic position like this, of which many believe can be a thankless job. For that reason alone, I can't help but honor and acknowledge all the work of Board of Education members, including you, Kathleen, and all the others that are in this room. I thank them wholeheartedly for their commitment to serve. Over the course of the last month, I have spoken with many people. A majority feel that there is a great divide between town, school, and community. I tend to agree. If elected, one of my goals would be to help bridge the divisional gap that exists between these entities. I am a great communicator, and I would like to help do that. Though I'm told federal and state laws which govern BOEs are strict and to the letter of the law, leave little to be desired regarding workability with others. I do believe some attempt at collaborating effort needs to take place. My name is Valentine I. Martino, and I would love to be your board vet and get your vote for this next election. Thank you.
Valentine, thank you. And 2 minutes for closing comments, Kathleen.
Thank you again for hosting this event and for you all for coming out tonight on this rainy evening. I want to be re-elected to the Board of Ed because I see this as an exciting time for our schools, and I want to be part of it. We have a new superintendent who is committed and involved. Working together as a community, we can build on our base and improve our schools. An investment in our schools is an investment in our community. A successful and high-performing school system invites people and businesses to the town. Since I've been on the Board of Ed, we have made great strides in reaching out to the public for input. We have increased our presence on social media. We have updated our website for easier accessibility. We have expanded our budget workshops to include Saturday morning sessions, and we could add more. We are now in the beginnings of creating a 3-year strategic plan to which the public was invited to take a survey and participate in the workshops. Prioritizing the needs of our schools and keeping the impact on the taxpayers low is a difficult task. But looking back on my past 6 years, I have been a driving force in achieving this. I have advocated for keeping the spending at the school increase to a minimum. I am not afraid to ask the hard questions and get to the bottom line. I have only supported programs that I felt were truly necessary for improving the performance of the school system. I have been responsible with your money while advocating providing the best education for the children of Thompson. Thank you.
Kathleen, thank you. Valentine, thank you. Matthew, thank you. And to the audience, my sincere thank you and appreciation for being respectful, for listening, for no hissing, no booing, no clapping. But now that that is all done, if we could give all three of our candidates a great big round of applause. And we've got about a 20-minute break, I'm told now, before the